guys, my name is Robert and I'm from New Creation Youth. This is the start of our 10-week Bible study series where we'll be looking at the topic, the armor of God. It is my hope that you are blessed and equipped by the words that we'll be bringing to you week by week. I hope that you are equipped to live a victorious life as a follower of Christ. So let's get started. Tonight's session is called, Where Are You Drawing Your Strength From? Now we can all grab our Bibles and we'll turn to Ephesians chapter 6 and start reading from verse 10. Ephesians 6:10 reads, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His might." So my question to you is, what does it mean to be strong in the Lord? To answer this question, I want you to go with me to 1 Samuel chapter 23. We're going to read from verse 14 to 18. Verse 14 starts off by saying, "And David stayed in strongholds in the wilderness and remained in the mountains in the wilderness of Ziph. Saul sought him every day, but God did not deliver him into his hand." Verse 15, "So David saw that Saul had come out to seek his life, and David was in the wilderness of Ziph in a forest." Verse 16 says, "Then Jonathan, Saul's son, arose and went to David in the woods," and this is the part that I want you to capture, "and strengthened his hand in God." Verse 17 says, "And he said to him, Do not fear, for the hand of Saul my father shall not find you. You shall be king over Israel, and I shall be next to you. Even my father Saul knows that." Verse 18 says, "So the two of them made a covenant before the Lord, and David stayed in the woods, and Jonathan went to his own house." Verse 16 and 17 say that Jonathan strengthened David's hand in God. Jonathan encouraged David and reminded him of the promise that God had given him, that one day David would be king over Israel. Now if we head over to 1 Samuel chapter 30, we'll read from verse 1 to 6, where we see David coming back home with his men from the land of the Philistines. Verse 1 says, "Now it happened, when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, attacked Ziklag and burnt it with fire, and had taken captive the women and those who were there, from small to great. They did not kill anyone, but carried them away and went their way. So David and his men came to the city, and there it was, burnt with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters had been taken captive. Then David and the people who were with him lifted up their voices and wept. They had no more power to weep. And David's two wives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the widow of Nabal the Carmelite, had been taken captive. Now David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God." So, my question to you again is, what does it mean to be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might? Rather than focusing his eyes on the circumstances around him, he chose to draw his strength from God. He chose to focus on God. He chose to look at Jesus. He chose to remind himself of God's goodness and God's faithfulness. And he chose to remind himself of God's track record, that God had been faithful at each step of the way. It is important to surround ourselves with people who will be an encouragement for our lives, to pick us up when we are down or discouraged, people who will speak God's truth and promises into our life. Brother, sister, friend, if you haven't already noticed, life can be tough. We go through mountains and valleys in life, and if our focus is on our health, our circumstances, our finances, we will live a defeated life. David could have focused on the fact that someone was after his life, or the fact that his wives and the family members of his men had been taken captive. He could have crept down to that level and mourned and lived a depressed life from that point on. Or he could have allowed his men to stone him in their anguish. But what did David choose to do? David chose to strengthen himself in God. He chose to be encouraged by the word of God. You will face moments in life where it appears that everything and everyone is against you, that you can no longer continue on with the plans that God has given you for your life, that you can no longer follow the path that God has set you on. But I tell you today, don't look at your circumstances, don't look at your finances, don't look at your health, don't look at your inabilities. Look to Jesus. Look at what Jesus has already done. Strengthen yourself in Him. Draw near to Jesus and strengthen yourself in His Word. Find rest in His loving arms. Find your hope and peace in the one who can give it to you like no one else can. Find it in Jesus. And I tell you, you will not be left ashamed. He will not fail you. Why? Because He is faithful. So that's all for today. I hope you guys got something out of this session. Next week we'll be looking at the importance of the armor of God and who our enemy really is. Be sure to like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, links are in the description. Also remember to like and share this video and to follow us on this series. Thanks for tuning in and God bless.